Higher, further, faster. It's Carol Danvers' mantra and the fire that fuels her to go beyond her limits, reaching greater heights than anyone could ever imagine that she could. In the upcoming movie, Captain Mar-Vell, named after Danvers' heroic alter ego, we will discover just how super this character really is, and why many are saying she's the most powerful superhero in the MCU. This is the 21st movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the very first fronted by a solo female hero, so expectations are exceedingly high. When the movie is released on March 8th, it will also explore other uncharted MCU territory, namely the 90s, when the movie is set, a time period we haven't seen much of in the MCU. Captain Mar-Vell has been around for decades as a comic character, even if it wasn't always Danvers who went by that name. However, the movie version of Carol Danvers, played by Oscar-winning actor Brie Larson, is based on a specific and especially beloved comic run in the character's history, but that doesn't mean that some parts of the character's past haven't been adjusted for the big screen. In this video, we'll take a look at Captain Mar-Vell in the comics, the inspiration behind the movie version of the character, the ways the story of Carol Danvers' past diverges from the comics, and the comic character redesign that inspired the costumes seen in the movie. Captain Mar-Vell has a long, convoluted history in the comics. She was first introduced in 1968, but she wasn't a superhero at the time. Instead, she was a pilot in the US Air Force and a secondary character in the story of a male hero who used the same name, Captain Mar-Vell. That version of Captain Mar-Vell was an alien, also known as Mar-Vell. Seriously. Mar-Vell, a Kree soldier, was sent to secretly observe Earth on behalf of his people. He went undercover as a human scientist named Dr. Walter Lawson, leading to him meeting the very human Carol Danvers. During a fight between Mar-Vell and another Kree soldier, Yon-Rogg, Danvers gets caught in an explosion that alters her DNA and fuses it with Mar-Vell's. Danvers became half Kree, which gave her astonishing powers. The character was seen on and off in the comics for the next 2 decades, but it wasn't until 2012, when she took up the mantle of Captain Mar-Vell in a new story arc by Kelly Sue DeConnick, that the character really took off. It's the Captain Mar-Vell run written by DeConnick that was the basis for the MCU Captain Mar-Vell movie. Not only did the arc start in 2012, but it didn't end until 2015, so it's very recent material given the long history of the character. As Kevin Feige, head of Marvel Studios, explained of the character in the movie, quote, "The history of Captain Mar-Vell goes back, and it's rather confusing. The one we're doing is based on Carol Danvers, and in particular, the Kelly Sue DeConnick one, which has only been around for the last few years, but it's been really inspirational for us." The movie won't be an origin story per se. Carol Danvers will already have her superpowers and be part of the Kree army when she's first introduced in the film. However, one thing the trailers make clear is that Danvers doesn't remember her life before getting her superpowers. She only remembers being Kree. During the movie, her memories of her time on Earth start to return to her, and it appears that the character's backstory will be revealed through the flashbacks she gets of her former human life. There are some story elements that appear to be completely unique to the movie though. Chief among these is that Danvers will have a role in the elite Kree military unit, Star Force. Captain Mar-Vell was never a part of Star Force in the comics, but it looks like her involvement with the Kree military may play a major role in the movie. The trailer makes it clear that Danvers believes that Star Force is a heroic organization, but one of its members is Ronan the Accuser, the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy. This story takes place before that one, but it still doesn't bode well for the Star Force's true intentions that such a notorious villain is among their ranks. Further, after a great deal of speculation about the identity of the Star Force commander Jude Law is playing, a tie-in book confirmed who he is. The character is the villainous Yon-Rogg, the alien that went up against the original Captain Mar-Vell in the comics. So it's possible that despite Yon-Rogg's role as mentor to Danvers in Star Force, his intentions aren't as benevolent as they seem in the movie's trailers. It looks like the Kree erased Danvers' memories in order to use her powers for their own ends while pulling the wool over her eyes about their true intentions. Another major plot point in the movie is Captain Mar-Vell's return to Earth on a Kree mission to prevent the infiltration of the planet by the Skrulls. However, Captain Mar-Vell never dealt with the Skrulls in any of her comic stories, so this is a story entirely unique to the film. Yet the connection to the Skrulls could hold the key to how Danvers gained her powers and the loss of her memories. The trailers show that before she gained her powers and became half Kree, Danvers was a pilot in the US Air Force, just like her comic counterpart. In this version of the story, though, Danvers is sent to investigate a potential UFO sighting. While examining a downed alien spacecraft, she is exposed to some unknown force that imbues her with superpowers. This storyline would make Mar-Vell, the first Captain Marvel from the older comics, unnecessary for the movie. However, it would also open up an opportunity to introduce the presence of a new character. Screen Rant points out that one of the pictures from a Captain Marvel-centric issue of Total Film magazine shows a scroll at the site of the crash where Danvers gets her powers. So when the film starts, it's possible the Skrulls know more about Danvers' past than she does, and they may play a key role in her remembering it too. Danvers' human occupation as an Air Force pilot also suggests that the movie could stick to the character's comic backstory involving her family. That story centers around Danvers' pain and disappointment with her father. Believing her lot in life was to be a housewife, he refused to pay her college tuition and instead sent her brother to school. So Danvers joined the Air Force to show what she was capable of. Eventually, she grew estranged from her family, and her father died before they could reconcile. According to comic scribe DeConnick, Danvers' need to prove herself is what drives her character the most, a motivation the movie appears to emphasize as well. Now, let's turn our attention to the costumes Captain Marvel will wear in the movie and the comic character redesign that made her superheroic look possible. Throughout Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers will sport 3 key costumes. She'll wear a traditional flight suit as a human Air Force pilot, a green and black uniform as a member of the Kree Star Force, and a final red, yellow, and blue supersuit inspired by the comic incarnation of the character in DeConnick's Captain Marvel run. Fans were thrilled when they finally got a glimpse of Captain Marvel's movie supersuit, especially since Danvers has sported many superhero looks over the years, and Marvel could have gone in a very different direction. In fact, when she was known as Ms. Marvel, Danvers wore a black leotard, a red sash, and black high-thigh boots to fight crime. Not exactly the most practical or comfortable of outfits. So when DeConnick reimagined the character as Captain Marvel in 2012, a character redesign was clearly in order. DeConnick said that initially she was having a hard time getting designs that she liked. Marvel was also unwilling to pay for the comic artist she really wanted, Jamie McKelvey. Instead of giving up though, DeConnick made a bet with McKelvey to get him to redesign the character. If he did, and Marvel saw it and liked it, either they would pay him for it or she would pay him out of pocket. The whole thing could have easily backfired, but fortunately the editors at Marvel liked McKelvey's work, and DeConnick got the redesign she was hoping for. The new Captain Marvel costume was designed for practicality while still maintaining the character's superhero glamour. Instead of a leotard with thigh-high boots, the costume now has more fight-ready features. The design was inspired by flight suits, while still using the colors that the classic Ms. Marvel was known for. And to top it off was a collapsible helmet that sweeps Danvers' hair into a sick mohawk. As DeConnick notes, it looks like she's in a superhero branch of the military. It's kind of dignified, but also utilitarian. As the trailers show, the costume has been more or less faithfully recreated for the film, including the mohawk helmet, and we wouldn't have it any other way. After seeing how skimpy the costume could be, Larson was worried about whether or not she would be sporting a barely there superhero suit. Phage reassured her that's not the direction they're going. In many ways, the redesign of Captain Marvel was a key to her becoming the next big MCU superhero. By modernizing the character's appearance and her backstory, Captain Marvel attracted fans like she never had before. When the first issue of the rebooted characters comic came out in 2012, it was sold out immediately. Just 8 months later, Marvel had a script for a Captain Marvel movie, followed by the film's official announcement in 2014. It's been an exciting trajectory for Carol Danvers, and it looks like it just may end in movie superstardom. With anticipation running high for Captain Marvel, we'll soon find out if the big screen version of the character will have the same box office draw as other Marvel films. Currently, Captain Marvel is on track for an impressive opening weekend, and we couldn't be more excited to watch the film when March 8th finally comes around. The film will be groundbreaking for its focus on a female superhero, and we'll get a full scoop on Carol Danvers' past and origin story too. But more importantly, the movie looks like it'll be a seriously entertaining ride. We're looking forward to going higher, further, and faster with her, if only from the safety of our movie theater seats. We hope this video shed some light on Captain Marvel and whet your appetite for the upcoming film. Leave us a comment below, and we hope you can give this video a thumbs up. If you want more superhero-worthy content, be sure to subscribe to The Binger. Thanks for watching.